to Limestone County Sports with myself, Greg Wise, and our co-host, Jay Vassar.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm hanging in there, man. I had a little bit of a rough weekend. I got to do something Friday night they hadn't done all year. I got to live stream the Ardmore-Russellville game. We did that on our channel, the Limestone County Sports channel. The AHS Sports Network was not able to travel down to Russellville. Had a lot of people during the day Friday reaching out, hey, man, can you live stream the game? Hey, man, can you live stream the game? Okay, fine, I'll do it. So I just take my phone. The video was probably pathetic. I hadn't seen a lot of it. I went back and took a couple clips out of it, stuff that I'm making for some of the players. And the video is, shaky. I'm all over the place because I'm trying to talk and video at the same time. But most people are just tuning in for updates anyway. And so I was being myself and screaming loudly, sometimes at the officials, sometimes not at the officials, at good plays that we were making. And then we had to play softball all day Saturday for 12 hours over in Florence. And so a combination of Friday night and Saturday at a softball field has taken its toll on my throat.
And that's a lot of gas usage too, going from Russellville back to Ardmore.
Yeah, we went from our home to Russellville, back to Ardmore to pick up our son, back to home, and so we get home about midnight on Friday night, and then we get up very early Saturday morning, drive all the way to Florence. Not only Florence, the Sportsplex over there on the other side of Florence, and then back home that night. Got home about 10 o'clock last night, and went to church yesterday morning. And so lots of travel, not a lot of rest, but as some people say, we'll rest when we die.
You need a vacation.
Yeah, I do. If Andy John King, if you are listening to this, which I doubt you are, but if anybody who knows Andy John King, you need to text him right now and say, man, y'all need to give Greg a break.
Yeah.
All the talking is taking its toll. But nonetheless, Jay, we had some pretty good football games Friday night.
We sure did.
And we want to jump in and start talking about some of those. We were trying to get you guys some information as far as predictions for this week via the website that we usually use, but currently that website is down. If we don't get those before the end of the show, we'll share those like we do in a regular post later on in the week on Limestone County Sports on Facebook. For those of you who may have tuned in Friday night, we were only live streaming on YouTube, and then like we just posted that link to Facebook, but you can go back and watch that game, especially I know a lot of those Ardmore kids will do that. And that's something maybe we may do in the future. Yeah. I plan to be at all the Ardmore games for all of this year, and for at least 2 more years I'll have a son playing and then have to see what my daughter's got going on after that, but maybe we can get out to some other places. I did see the week Ardmore's on a bye. I think Tharpton plays at Tanner.
Yeah.
And I think Play Action Sports would be down there doing the audio on that.
Probably, yeah.
And so maybe we can team up and broadcast the video and let those guys do the audio or something.
Yeah.
We'll see how that works out. May do that. That's also the same night before the Ardmore Car Show, so it kind of depends on what I got going on.
Yeah, your plate may be full.
Well, it stays full, Jay. When you got 3 teenagers, the plate stays full all the time. But nonetheless, it's enjoyable. It's kingdom work. We like investing in people in our community, so we continue to do that. Jumping right into some of our games from this past week. Athens, they were at Jasper, correct? Or was that at home?
It was at home.
Jasper came to town to Athens, and Athens put it on them. I think the spread from that last week was Athens was favored by 11. I know there were a few people who were a little scared. Well, I don't want to say scared, but a little concerned about Jasper, and then Athens answered the call. It was 29-7 at half, and then Athens went on to beat Jasper 52-20.
Yeah, it was a homecoming for Jasper's coach, Coach David Reeves, and I thought it'd been a little bit closer game than what it turned out to be, and
Athens jumped out on them quick too.
Yeah.
So I think that was a region game too, correct?
Yes.
So Athens has not lost, so they're everything is in the win column for them in region play. and just regular season play. This week they got Hazel Green coming to town. It will be this week Athens homecoming game.
Yes, it will. Big pep rally on the square Friday afternoon. So
Yep. Not sure of Hazel Green's record. I know they beat East early in the season.
Yeah.
That's another thing. We can't get to the website to kind of pick up some of that information for you guys, so they don't have a prediction yet. But Jay just kind of shooting in the dark. Hazel Green coming to Athens. Don't know what the website's prediction will be, but just outright winner.
I'm going to roll the Golden Eagles. They're on the roll.
Yeah, me too. I think they really, got rolling last week in a game that they thought could, be a little dangerous. And then it is homecoming, so I think they keep on rolling, and I think they'll beat Hazel Green big.
Yeah, I do too.
East Limestone was on the road.
Yeah.
They went down to Priceville in a region matchup. That game was tied at the half. It was 14-14.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know whatever happened in the second half, but, Priceville, coming off 2 losses to Ardmore and Brewer, you would think, East might have a chance, but the Bulldogs came out playing tough in the second half and opened it wide open on them.
Yeah, that's the only thing about, traveling and going to these other games. You don't get a lot of details on some of these games, especially if they're not broadcasting, where you can go back and look and see some stats and things of that nature. Again, it was 14-14 half. Final, Priceville won 36-20. East still dealing with some injuries.
As far as I know, with Hayden being out, that's the only one I know for sure. So.
Yep. Hopefully they'll get rolling. Bad news, they got West coming to East Limestone this Friday night.
And that's always a battle, those two teams. And Coach Davis, he'll have his team ready, and I know Coach Johnson will try to get his boys ready for a tough task because it's a rivalry game.
Excuse me. Yeah, big rivalry game. West coming off a loss against Central. We'll jump right into that very shortly. But the West and East game is usually a slobber knocker.
It is. It's always has been.
Yeah, for years.
For years.
Yep. Moving on to West, Central was at West for a region game as well. 13-0 at halftime. Central went on to win 28-7. I think maybe from last week, Central was favored in that game by a few points. Central, pretty good football team. Yeah. They've beat some pretty good football teams already, and they go over there to Salem and get it done, win by 21. Got any details on that game? Now, the week before, West's quarterback was out, correct?
Yeah, he came back.
Okay,
and so, but as far as any info, I hadn't had none. Just a tough loss for Coach Davis, region game, and he's going to try to bounce back against East this week.
Yeah, and we keep talking about that big region that they're in. I think it's is that the one with 8 or 9 teams?
I think it's 9.
Yeah, I think it was too, where you're playing 8 region opponents and you've got to win, at least 5 to, maybe with some weird things going on, you could win 4, but just to make the playoffs, and a big tough region for West. But I think are they 1-1 or 2-1 in region play now?
I think they're 1-1. I think so.
Okay, so still a lot of football ahead for.
And that was West's homecoming too, so.
They played Central for homecoming.
Yeah.
Well, when you're playing 8 region games, how do you fit in a homecoming game? Most people, try to get an opponent that they could win for homecoming, or they look at their schedule and, okay, here's my home teams I got to choose from. Which one would probably be the better opponent for homecoming? And when you've got 8 region opponents and you only putting in 2 out-of-region games. One of them's the first game of the season when they played Clements. You can't have homecoming the first week.
No.
And so a hard task there. But, again, West will be at East. Jay, what's your prediction on that game?
I think West should beat them, I think.
You think West beat East? If you had to put a number prediction on
3 points.
You think West by 3?
Yeah.
I'm going to take West by 10.
Okay.
Just based on scores. I've seen Priceville play. I know what Priceville was working with, and Priceville could have had the best game that they've had all year. That just, I think, tells me a lot about that game that's coming up this Friday night between West being at East. But again, I'll put 10 points on it. I'll be interested to see when the website gets up. I keep clicking it to try to reload it.
You know, it seemed
maybe
like
they're posting some stuff. Not sure.
It seemed like the last couple of years in the East program, they would lose early, and then they would bounce back. You know, the second half of the season and finish like 500. Mm-hmm. You know, they were close to making the playoffs the last couple of years.
Yeah. Well, I think 2 years ago they did that, and they made the playoffs. I'm pretty sure.
I think it was the first year Coach Woodfin was there.
I believe so. Now, you really have no control over when you play your region opponents. I know the state just kind of dictates that. You kind of draw names out of a hat, really. Throw them all in there in week one, pull the name out of the hat, and so this is who you're playing. I don't think they can dictate the region opponents much at all. And East region opponents early in the season was, they were playing Russellville right out the jump, which they just played Russellville a couple weeks ago. Yeah. But Fairview, all of those monster teams that come later on some other team schedules, they were right out the box. Yeah. And then they were playing some non-region opponents that were pretty legit too. And so they were starting off, 0 for or 1 for 2, something along those lines. But then they would, get their feet up under mid-season and get a few wins, and I think did make the playoffs. I think 2 or 3 years ago, and then last year won a couple games at the end of the season too. Yeah. So maybe they'll do that and get rolling. I know if they could beat West at home, that'd be a good start.
It would be. Yeah, it would.
Yep. Moving on, Clements was at Elkmont. 2 county opponents playing each other. It was Elkmont's homecoming. Yes. This Friday night, I was headed over to West Limestone for some softball practice with my daughter, and we had to reroute around Elkmont on Thursday because the homecoming parade. So we had to go all the way, back down around through Owens, that area, and come around the back way. So we missed the homecoming parade. But to a shocker to some, I don't think it was to us. I think you took Clements last week. I took Elkmont. Clements, your alma mater. Elkmont, my alma mater. And so we kind of went that way. I think Clements was favored by maybe 2. Yeah. But tight game at halftime, 0-0. Now, you were at this game, correct?
Yeah, and Clements was driving right before half. I mean, they were down maybe 10 or 15-yard line and just stalled out, and they go for a field goal, and that snap was high, so it rushed the kicker, and he pulls it left. So they go in at half at 0-0. Come out second half, Clements gets the ball, and they stall out, and then Elkmont just went in. Guthrie went in on a long run, scored. It was just a missed assignment with the Colts, and then Clements punts back to him, and another blown assignment where it was a hitch and go. Quarterback threw it down the sideline, touchdown, and Clements could never just get back,
Now, the final was 16-0. I assume Elkmont was going for 2 on those touchdowns.
Yeah, they didn't have a kicker.
Okay.
So
it paid off because they got, 4 extra points.
Yeah.
Well, 2 extra points. 16-0 final at Elkmont. That's Elkmont's second win on the season, first win in region play. And Clements is still in the winless column. Yeah. They go to Tanner this week. Elkmont has a bye this week. I know I talked to Coach Shrink here at church yesterday. Much needed. Vacation, or not say vacation. He'll be teaching at school all week, so it's not necessarily a vacation. I do think he's got some plans this weekend. I'm not going to share those because he probably don't want his phone blowing up, but he is going to get some rest. Yeah, let's say that. And as most of these coaches do, they try to do those things, let their players off an extra day. Let the coaches off, assistant coaches off an extra day or something here after practices, maybe in practice on a Thursday of the bye week, something like that. And it's good for the team, especially coming off of a win. Yeah. Sure the great thing about going into a bye week, the best thing that can happen going into a bye week is you win the game the week before because you're rolling 2 weeks on a win instead of just coming right back in, getting back on the grind, and then getting back on the field on a Friday night. So you really get to ride that roller coaster of high school football when you get a win before a bye week.
Yeah, you do, and that gets you healthy. Which I know they're centers out with a broke leg, but get some healthy with other nicks and bang up guys that they got. So
yep,
that'll help out.
Yep. Again, Elmont on the bye. Clements goes to Tanner. They'll be down at Rip Swanner Field this Friday night. Tanner's homecoming?
I don't know.
Yeah. I hadn't heard anything about their homecoming, so I didn't know if it was there.
I don't know if it is or not.
Yeah. Can you believe, Jay, that we're already halfway through with football season?
I know.
It's nuts, dude. It seems like we just started football season like 2 weeks ago, and now we're here talking about week 5's game results. So we are smack dab right in the middle of football season. And it's going to be gone, man.
I know it. And Colts, maybe they can get this win down at the pit. It's always tough to play down there.
Yeah, well, especially Tanner's coming off a win, too. We're going to talk about that here in a couple more teams. Tanner getting recognized as our team of the week, getting a big win, but we'll talk about that here shortly. And we'll talk about the prediction for the Clements and Tanner game as well. Moving on to the one other team, Ardmore went to Russellville Friday night. Russellville is to North Alabama High School 5A football what Alabama has been for college football in the last 15 years.
Yes.
Every once in a while somebody will get them, but they are at the peak of high school football, especially 5A in North Alabama.
Yeah.
Great stadium down there. Don't know if anybody's never been there or not. Only turf field that we play on. It looks like a small college because they've got, the elementary school over here, middle school over here, and just a fantastic facility. They got what looks like an antebellum-style old Civil War-looking house at the end of it. I think that's their field house. It's got a big porch that overlooks the field, and it was their homecoming, so they had all the glitz and glamour and fireworks and fun night to be in Russellville. The only thing that sucks about going to Russellville, and again, I apologize for not being my voice not being 100%, but yelling. That's what gets me yelling at Russellville. But usually when you go to Russellville, you dread it because you know what's fixing to happen. You know that no matter how prepared you are, how good you think your team is.
You're down 14 points.
You're down 35. Usually,
true.
You're down 35 zip at halftime, got your head hung. Your players, that stuff gets in kids' heads. That turf gets in kids' heads. I think the first year I remember going over there, we had a freshman, I believe it was Zach Hall, broke his leg on that turf, and so that lingers. Oh, man, we just don't want to get anybody hurt, man. We just don't want to get anybody hurt. And so, tend to think maybe sometimes we don't play at 100% because of those things, and you're fixing to go over there and probably walk out of there with a 52-0, 60-0 defeat. But this is the first time ever.
And they got a new coach, right? Because Coach Ritter went to Decatur.
Yep, got a new coach, and they've got a dude at running back. They've got a D1 dude at running back. I've seen him with my own eyes. Best high school tailback I've ever seen in person. Now, I've seen, plenty of dudes on film, and I get all that. Best one I've seen in person. Finney, I believe is his last name. He's an 11th grader. He can go. Got a jump cut at the line of scrimmage, and then he's busting it out to the edge, and he's going down the sideline. Ain't nobody catched him. He's running over dudes. Best dude in the region that I've seen to date. Even the Jake Harper kid from Fairview, their schemes help him out. He's a good running back too. Don't get me wrong, and they got a couple of them. But this dude is the dude. Like if I had to call it right now in 5A region, Fairview and Russellville are pretty tight. Fairview's probably got the better team. Russellville's got the better dude. I would love to see that game. I don't know. I think they play again in a couple of weeks, and that'll be for all intents and purposes. Yeah, the region championship, which it has been for the last 3 or 4 years that I'm aware of. But anyway, Ardmore at Russellville. Ardmore was only down 14 zip at half. Ardmore went down there well prepared. Schemes were great. Play calling was fantastic. Some of the guys around the program, we were kind of, wondering, hey, is our offense going to be able to keep that Finney off the field? Yeah. And for 3.5 quarters, we were able to do that. and even competed till the end of the game. But it was 14-0 at half. And, dude, we went in half, and I was like, man, we come over here to play some football.
Yeah.
Had some guys texting me, y'all in a ball game over there. And I was like, yes, we are. And seen some great, some new play designs, new things offensively. Alex King he's the starting quarterback at Ardmore, had probably the best night of football he's had in an Ardmore jersey through several deep passes. His receivers helped him out. Keaton Johns, he's a senior, never played football before, had a long, probably 60-yard reception. Skylar Jean, he's been around for a long time. He had a long one too. Alex threw a touchdown to Andrew Eckstein right across the middle. It was only like 4 yards. But Andrew is kind of newcomer. He played, football, middle school, and younger. He actually played for me when we were playing like rec ball back in the day up at the middle school. But newcomer, hey, he gets a touchdown pass, and they look really good. The final was 38-7. I look back at some scores. Ardmore had never held Russellville since 1934 anyway. I think Ardmore beat Russellville one time in 1934, 9-0. Other than that game, they've all been L's, but they've only been playing since about 2015. But Ardmore had never held Russellville to under 40 points, and over the last 4 games was averaging 2.5 points per game. They'd only scored 10 points in the last 4 games. So coming out of there, 38-7. I'm not the big moral guy, victory dude that gets pumped up because we just murdered Alabama A&M or New Mexico. But, dude, I left there positive, and just talking to the coaches on the way home, texting some people. Me and you talked on the way home. If they play that caliber of football rest of the season, they're going to be tough to beat.
Yeah, and Coach Snyder's done a great job up there.
Yeah,
he's got the kids rolling, and like you said, it's Russellville. They get kids that move in all the time, and but
yeah, Russellville is going to have some dudes. Yeah. They're always going to have some dudes. I wasn't very impressed with their passing game. Now, I'm sure they're probably holding some stuff in their back pocket for, Fairview games and maybe into the playoffs. Of course, you don't have to pass much when you got a D1 running back getting probably 30 touches a game. I was wanting to go back and, try to find some stats and see how many touches he had, but he had a lot. And he's a workhorse, too. He was toting it.
So you said he's a junior, right?
Yeah, as far as I know, I think so. Yeah,
wow.
yeah. I think he had. I think somebody said he had over 1,200 yards last year as a 10th grader.
Wow.
And I do know, Mars Hill beat them like second game of the season, and they held him to 135. I hadn't again seen any stats. I would say he was over 200. He gets that corner, man. He's going, and he's got an unbelievable jump cut that I've never seen in person again.
How tall is
he? He's good. He looks maybe 5'10", 6 foot thick. He looks the role. Kind of reminds me of Kerryon Johnson a little bit.
Okay.
No, I mean, he's running over dudes. I mean, you won't be able to run over dudes in D1 ball, but he's running over dudes in 5A.
Wow.
But big back. He's the real deal. He'll be the MVP of the region, all state and all of that good stuff, and then have a whole nother year of football ahead of him. Jay, my alarm clock is going off over there. Don't know if you heard that. I meant to turn that off, but forgot to do so. Ardmore, final of that game again was 38-7. Ardmore has Madison County coming to Ardmore this week. It's Ardmore's homecoming. What are you thinking about that game, Jay?
Well, I know. There we go. Madison Academy went over there and beat. I call them Gurley, but it's Madison County High School. Beat them last week. So
yeah. Well, Madison Academy is no slouch.
No,
but they beat them pretty good. I think it was 42-7, something like that.
Yeah. So
Madison County. Like if I had time, I could pull it up and maybe see what their schedule looks like. I'm not going to have time to mess with that. I don't know. How many games. I know New Hope beat them. New Hope's putting up like 1,000 points a game, so that's not saying anything.
No.
Wait, we got our predictions here. We'll talk about this game while we got it up here. If I can find it. Well, Jay, I don't see it on here. Madison County, are they 4A? Oh, here we go. Yeah, they got it in the 4A section. I'm sorry. They got Ardmore favored by 22 points over Gurley.
I'm taking Ardmore.
You think you taking Ardmore to cover 22 points?
Yes.
I'm going to take them too. At homecoming,
yeah.
Seriously, if Ardmore play as good as they did last week, they're going to be tough to beat. Offensively, they got some things going last week that I hadn't seen them do in 3 years, and I think they turned. I hate to say they turned the corner on a 31-point loss, but I think they turned the corner.
So only injury is Cam Jarrett. No injuries Friday night, so they should be ready to
go. Well, Noah Stafford, which is punter, punt returner, probably one receiver. He was out of the game for a whole second half. Possible concussion. Okay. That hadn't been confirmed, so it may be, hey, we're just going to hold him out to make sure. He was walking around on the sidelines fine. Didn't look like he was having any kind of issues. Didn't look like he was nauseous, anything like that. So that's the only thing I heard of, but, again, hadn't confirmed that he would be out or anything.
And like we said about Elkmont, Ardmore wins this game, they go into a bye week.
Yes.
A lot of momentum going into the East Limestone game.
Right.
No, not East Limestone, but Lawrence County, right?
Yes.
Lawrence
County
is
correct. Moving on back to some other predictions, Jay. Athens, they got Athens over Hazel Green by 32. You like it?
Yeah.
You going to take Hazel Green to beat
I'm gonna take
Athens to beat Hazel Green by more than 32 points. You like that? You like that score?
I like Athens.
Okay. They got West over East by 12.
Yeah, I'll take that. West
to cover 12. I'm going to take that 12 points too. Elkmont had the bye week. Clements and Tanner, I'm interested to see what they got. They got Clements over Tanner by 5.
Take the Colts.
Excuse me, I apologize. Clements over Tanner by 5. You're taking the Colts. I'll toss it up. Y'all take Tanner at home. We don't know if it's their homecoming or not. They're going to have a homecoming at some point in time. But nonetheless, they got a big win last week.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
And I think they can get something going and hopefully get rolling in the right direction. So Jay's taking Clements to cover 5. I'm going to take Tanner and the points. We already mentioned Ardmore to cover 22 at Madison County. We'll be at Ardmore for homecoming. And then the last game that we hadn't talked about is the Tanner at Bell Green. We've already talked about that prediction. Tanner went down to Bell Green, who is a first-year program. I think we talked about that a couple of weeks ago. At halftime, Tanner was up 34-0.
Yeah.
And they finished them out 47-13.
And Bell Green with a 1A school with a turf field.
Yes, we still don't know how that's come about. I think because they're in the same are they in the same county as Russellville?
Yeah, I think so.
And Russellville's got a turf field, so they were with every school. I guess every school, a county school in that county would have to have turf field also.
Except for Tharptown.
Well, they would have to get Tharptown one at some point, wouldn't they?
I don't know, but they right there in that area.
Is Tharptown, was Russellville a Russellville City school? Or
I think it's a city school.
And is Bell Green the city?
I don't know.
That's interesting. Around here, we know Limestone County, if one school gets something, then over the next 10 years, all the other schools will get it. And we've talked about, trying to get turf at schools and all that. And the thing that I tell people all the time is, well, guys, there's 6 high schools.
Yeah.
If you get turf at one school, in the next 10 years, you've got to get turf at every school.
Yeah.
Turf now is probably about $3 million a field.
Mm-hmm.
With everything you got to do, tear out the old stuff, put a conditioner and all kind of stuff under it, drainage, all those things. So $3 million a school,
and
6 schools.
It ain't just laying turf out on the field and just lay. Yeah. You got to prepare it and everything.
Yes.
So
big ordeal, and to do that 6 times, big money.
Yeah.
And so I will be doubt that any of the county schools in Limestone will probably get turf anytime soon. Unless somebody wants to donate about $20 million and earmark it. And you can't earmark it for one school. You got to earmark it for all of them.
And what I always heard about Russellville is that at the time that Roger Bedford.
Oh, you're going this route?
Yeah.
Okay.
Donated all that money to Russellville.
Yeah. Heard that some politicians got Russellville some pretty healthy donations.
Yes.
And if they did, man, hey, I'm glad to see our tax dollars going to work. Mm-hmm. Be hard to do again with 6 high schools in Limestone County. Now, Athens has turf. Athens is their only high school in the Athens City school system, and so they can use their tax dollars and revenue a little different than the county schools can, and they probably making more revenue with alcohol sales and all of those things too than the county schools do as well. I think the county schools do a pretty good job what they got. One rumor I've heard is that the county is possibly thinking about building some type of track and field place, event center, something over at Owens.
Really?
See, there's no school or place in the county to practice track and field.
That's true.
No school has a track. And so, like Ardmore, their track team, Brody played, did some throwing for their track team, run a little bit. They would have to go up to the city park and just run on a asphalt track to practice. Every once in a while they could go somewhere and get on a legit track. They'd partner with Elkmont a lot and go run through town, across country. They got that the trails over there. They'd use it a lot. And so that was always a question me and my wife had was, why don't the county build just one centralized track facility? Johnson, Piney Chapel. I don't think Piney Chapel has the acreage to do it. You'd have to have big parking. But Owens would be fantastic.
Because they got those 2 fields down in the bottom. That'd be perfect for
They
track.
could put a track down there, pave a parking lot, start hosting events, generating income, and then the schools could just kind of rotate back and forth between practice times and things like that. I think
now
they're
using the school for like a virtual school. Is that right? Or a school or something?
Yeah, I'm not sure. They are still using it for something, and then Piney Chapel's closed. They're using it for like a daycare for educators.
Okay.
So a lot of cool things going on in the county school system there. But
I hope that happens. That'd be nice.
That would be awesome. Sure would, because there's a lot of great track kids. Ardmore, and again, I hate talking about Ardmore all the time on this show, but that's where I'm at. So that's what I know. Ardmore sent a couple kids to UT Southern on track scholarships, throwing, javelin, and discus and stuff like that.
Now, is Miss Mara still a coach?
Yeah, I think she's retiring from track and field coaching. I think this may be her last year. I hadn't confirmed that, but I know they're talking about it. She's been doing that for a long time, been very successful. A lot of state competition. She's been to the state meet years, and 10, 12 years in a row, maybe longer. Done a fantastic job with that program. All right, Jay, we got any other high school football stuff we want to talk about?
Once again, tailgate talk every Saturday morning, 10 to 12. We talk to our local high school coaches, recap their games from the past weekend, past Friday nights, and be sure to go to tailgatetalk.net and nominate your favorite athlete of the week and vote on a poll that we have up this week. And just appreciate all the likes and the follows and the posting of the scores and videos and all that good stuff on the website. Yeah,
appreciate everybody listening. One thing I did think about was possibly having a volleyball show maybe in the next week or two. They're going to be wrapping up area or region play and kind of going into the quote-unquote playoffs.
Yeah.
And so if we can get some information and stats and details and what all that looks like together, or maybe just do a separate show, volleyball edition of Limestone County Sports. Get Athens in there as well.
It seems like volleyball season is just short, and boom, they go to state.
Yeah, it's not long at all. Maybe 6 weeks, and then they're looking at area play, and then they're going to Wallace State or something, I think.
And here in we're almost a month away from the middle school basketball tournament at West Limestone. Can you believe that?
Jay, me and basketball, it's a bittersweet story. I played basketball to about 9th grade till I realized I was vertically challenged, and then I was like, oh, this is probably not for me, and so I stuck to basketball and baseball and football, and none of my sons played basketball, and for whatever reason, my daughter decides that she wants to be a 3-sport star, and so she's been playing for the last couple of years. She's still playing middle school basketball. And I just love being in the gym where it's so loud, and if you yell at the referees, everybody knows who's yelling at them. And as you can tell by my voice, I don't really like to yell at the referees or anything like that. But just say if I did, they can, pinpoint who it is. The cheerleaders are super, super loud in the gyms. And so I would just rather, if I could do anything, just stay to the outside sports. But I'm going to support my kids.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
And the kids where I'm at anytime they're playing, and try to do that. But I just have to grin and bear through basketball season. I would love to just be curled up on my couch watching football till February and kind of have an off season, but that doesn't happen anymore. Thanks to my youngest child, Bella Wise. We appreciate you, baby. All right, Jay, been a good show.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully we can get our website rolling, get those predictions up on Facebook later in the week. And, guys, if you got any questions, there were some folks chiming in last week with some comments. We were discussing some of the predictions and how that website does those. Thanks, Aaron Crawford, for those. Keep tuning in, chit-chatting. That's what we kind of built this page for, just to talk and discuss local high school sports. Appreciate you guys listening. Hope you have a fantastic week, and good luck to all of our local teams. God bless.